something's different in the way you are. So I don't know what that is.
I feel like I'm letting the dogs down because I can't get this. And yeah, I'm really down on myself right now because I'm like, I just, I'm so literal and it's hard for me to, I don't know. So yeah, I'm a little bit down today, but that doesn't mean I'm not here. I'm present. I'm listening.
But
I'm soaking it in.
no,
I'm just
I no 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 no. So mindset is everything. Okay, mindset is everything, and that's the problem. I may lose you here. Okay, but I'm just telling you the truth. From I know I might because people have these. They kind of keep their feelings to themselves. And if you've ever thought movement is dialogue, I'm watching how you're moving. I'm listening to how you're talking, and it's very different. If you
right,
stay in your same perspective and you keep expecting shit to be different, you're not engaging in the language.
right.
The handler gets the dog they deserve. All right. I appreciate it. Let me know when you'd like to chat again, and we'll clean up the pieces. But listen, seriously, get off your own back. You're talking to yourself the wrong way. All right, let's get any bitching out of the way now.
Hey, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. Something clicked this week in my brain.
What?
I get it. I mean, I think I get like all the things you've been trying to drill into my brain. I get it.
What do you
And
mean you get it?
well, one of your posts is you get the dog you deserve, right?
Hmm.
And I have friends that but first I would say if my dogs continued on the way that they were without fighting, not really that obedient, not really I would have been happy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I would be like, oh God, I wish they didn't like jump on people. But I mean, I was working on that, stuff like that. But I wasn't unhappy with the dogs prior to the fighting. Okay. So I thought, I did okay.
Mm.
I have friends whose dogs, like, those little, I don't know, begins with an H dog, Havanese. And she's like, he's the cutest little thing. And, he'll be sitting on the couch, but you can't touch him or he'll bite you. And he pees on the floor. And so she can't have any area rugs. And so she went to the trainer that we talked about where I went to the pack walks. And he gave her a list of things like do's and don'ts, don't like pay attention to all this stuff. And she's like, well, there's no way that anybody's going to do that. So she's just like, we just learned not to touch him and we learned not to do this. And I'm thinking, how insane is that? Right. I mean, in my mind, that's insane. I mean, a dog that's peeing in your house. She's like, well, we just leave a bath mat down. He pees on that and I can throw it in the wash machine. So, I mean, and I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. And my niece has a dog that, like, as soon as they leave the house, he chews all the trim and everything else, but they can't put him in a crate because he destroys the crate and they're afraid he's going to hurt himself. So
wire crate, right?
Right. So they're resigned to that dog. But again, it's the dog they deserve because that's what they did. But I see what I did to these dogs. Now, I don't understand. So we never raised a puppy from the beginning to end. So I've only brought adult dogs to you, other than like my last dog, we did puppy classes with you.
Yeah.
So I was never clear on what you're supposed to do with a puppy to not get to where I am now. Right.
Right.
And they're so cute and wonderful when they're little. You want to do right. I mean, that's the whole problem. Everybody should just get a 1-year-old dog that's been through the cute stage and then, that someone else trained or something. But so all of a sudden I'm like, I get it. These dogs don't understand that this is my world and they're living in it. It's their world and I'm living in it, and they're going to do.
They understand. So that's brilliant. I'm so happy you had this breakthrough, right? But they're very clear that it's their world,
right?
And you were very clear that this was the world you wanted,
right?
Everybody was happy until the shit hit the fan,
right?
Now, when you have your little Havanese, the dog says, you can't touch me. Dog says, you can't get on the couch. Dog's going to become resource aggressive. If you go to touch that fucking dog's food, he's going to learn that you can't touch me. You can't touch my shit. Now he shits and pisses in the house, and they're okay with it. That is the problem, is that we look at dogs like special needs infant grandchildren. And then
because you wouldn't let your kids shit in the floor. I mean,
I don't know today. I don't fucking know. Like, we live in a different fucking world. Boys are girls, girls are boys. Look,
right.
here's the thing. You see the Olympics, the girl got the shit kicked out of her.
Oh, I know.
What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? So I live in this world where I've kind of come back to behind Patreon to just talk to people, because when I talk to people about, like, I've met many people who are like, look, I have this little dog, his name's Coco, and he's wonderful, but you can't pick him up because he'll bite. You can't clip his nails. You can't take him to the groomer. He doesn't want to go outside. He wants this toy, not that toy. And I'm just going like this. And they go, can you fix that? I go, yeah. Put him to sleep.
Yeah.
And they go, what? I go, look, that's what it's going to come to. That's because little dogs can get away with murder for so much longer than big dogs can.
Right. And this one draws blood. I mean, it's not like it's just like, he's like biting.
I would love to meet him. So, and I'm not kidding. Every time I pick up a leash, the world is mine. It's my house. You do not get the right to put your teeth on me. There's a lady who lives in New Hampshire who's been a vet tech forever. She just recently retired. And I think it's on Patreon, where this dog needed emergency care because it didn't listen and it got hit by a car, and they brought it in and she's going to help them. Like he said, the dog did not give its consent for treatment and touch. What the fuck does that look like?
She said that? Was she serious? It wasn't a joke?
Hey, listen, the world, you have no idea the depth of the lunacy that is going on out there. Yeah. Well, they have this guy who's doing canine chiropractic work, and he's muzzling the dogs, and then he's going like, and the dogs don't know that's a chiropractic thing.
Right.
They think they're being restrained and hurt. So they go like, what the fuck? And some of them will come after him. What he doesn't understand, because he's trying to help without knowing, is that the chances of the next kid coming up and hugging that dog that was the precursor to the pain is going to catch a bad one.
Right.
And then they're going to blame the dog. We had a couple of years ago during COVID, they had this TikTok challenge with your dog to your dog. So your camera, the camera's the dog, and you go like this to your dog and see what it does. You know how many people got bit in the fucking face?
Oh, I bet.
How many people did you see that you can't clip the nail? They put cellophane around their head and put peanut butter here, so the dog's licking here while they cut the nails. Like, you're living in a world that is the worst world for dogs ever. And I'll tell you something, it's a brilliant observation. I don't even get to training with people. We're not even talking about dog training. We're talking about, like, with your friend with the Havanese. It can't bite you. Well, he doesn't want to get off the couch. No shit. No shit.
Right.
Whose couch is it? Well, we gave it to him and we got another couch.
Right. I mean, that's basically what she said. He's got his own chair.
Bless.
And when it's time for bed, they're like, time for bed, George. And he'll get down. But she's like, I don't dare to pick him up and move him. And if company comes, they're told not to touch the dog because he'll bite them. He's bitten company. He's bitten the kids. He's bitten everybody.
It's a dead dog. He just doesn't know it yet.
Well, and that's where I'm saying it's like everybody's tolerance for what I would never put up with a dog that bit me or shit in my house. Okay. I mean, or peed in my house or chewed on my furniture. I mean, so my rules are a little bit stricter than hers, but I'm not saying my dogs are better than hers because it's levels, right? I mean, it's
right.
a level.
It is levels. So it's just a recipe for disaster with people today because we've all lost our goddamn minds. And the marketing of I don't know how old you are. I'm 58. When I was a kid, you went to a breeder for a Jack Russell, they look at your parents and go, I'm not giving that kid one of my dogs. There's no fucking way. There's too much dog. You go to the shelter and all the aggressive dogs were dead.
Right.
You didn't even see them.
Right.
But then someone, this was a mean thing. Someone took it's hard. It's hard to put dogs down when it's single. But when you have a kill shelter and they have 10 days or 15 days and then that's it, you got to go through, pull them out, and the vet nails them and they go down, boom, boom, boom. So there's a picture of these dogs that were euthanized in their kennel, drug out, put on the floor because they're going to wrap them up in plastic bag. Next one, boom. Next one, boom. And they posted that picture, one of the little snowflake employees, with all the names and addresses of the people involved.
Oh, wow.
I'm glad that you're going through this, but you're gonna get pissed off. Now you're gonna start to see it everywhere, and it's tough. It's really tough because if you want to help dogs, it's not the time for that. If you want to make money, it's the time for that, and that's
right.
That's the way it is. Where the fuck did I put that? It's and again, I say to people, I'm an analog trainer in a digital world. Well, the problem with that is that everybody who thinks, how do I put this? If you think correcting a dog is abuse, right? And that's the middle. That's supposed to be the middle, right? Like this is normal. Like, no, you don't get to bite me. No, you don't do that. No, you don't do this. That's abusive now. That's what people think is abusive, right? And people are so soft that they'll let this predator into their house, and that predator sets up shop, and it starts to say, I'm pissing and shitting in here, because that's marking. That's saying this is mine. I'm going to bite you. Now, let me ask you a question. When that dog gets hurt or injured and needs medical attention, who the fuck's going to pick that thing up?
Well, guess what? She's got to bring it for his shots, and she told me that she has to go pick up sedatives to give him so that
whose fault?
Hers, but she said, well, and I don't think the vet should do it either, but she said, I have to go. She's like, he's never really got an exam because he won't let the vet touch him. So like the vet just barely gives him his shots and stuff. And then, so this year she's like, I'd like him to have an exam because he's like 4 years old now. And she's like, is there something we can give him? So the vet is giving her sedatives to give to the dog so that when she brings him to the vet, he can be examined.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Because movement is dialogue, right?
Right.
Movement is dialogue. So if the dog's so fucking roofied that you can't see it move, how can it communicate with you to tell you that something's wrong?
Right.
And vets are just eating this shit up with a sponge, with a spoon.
I'll sell you if sure, wwhy not? It makes my life easier when you bring the dog in.
Listen, there's another video on Patreon where this lady got the first dog during COVID. It was a shelter started breeding puppies because they were running out of dogs during COVID. What the fuck is that? Anyway, 400 milligrams of Prozac on a 35-pound dog and 50 of Trazodone every fucking day.
It's got to be comatose.
The dog was like, because we don't know how those things, the dog can't give you feedback.
Right.
So and that dog might be seeing demons and you don't know. But I said the first thing we got to do is take this dog off the meds. Oh, the vet strongly disagrees with you. I go, I know, because vets do vet things.
Right.
Vets are going to solve problems like vets. E-collar people are going to solve problems like e-collar people. Balanced trainers are going to say, we're going to use a little food and a little e-collar. We're going to use a little prong and a toy. We're going to avoid the situations. And purely positive people are batshit crazy. So everything's about money. And this is why when I talk to people, I'm very glad that we have previous history, because when I would talk to people that are coming from the industry, what the industry is telling them, I sound like Satan. I sound like, look, here's what we're going to do. And I know you're running up against some of that where you're like, Chris, I don't want these dogs in crates forever. Well, let them out. We're not, go ahead. See what happens. Knock yourself out. I'll watch. Turn the video on. Let me watch.
Right.
And when you're done with all that shit, I'll go, what are you going to do with them? Well, I got to put them in the crate. I fucking told you. You know?
So the other realization I had is that, okay, I had him for 10 months before I reached out to you.
Yeah.
And now it's been a month or whatever that I've been trying to
rehab yourself.
Yes. Right. I think, and this is what I'm worried about. So, you know, you saw the videos of them being walked, and you know, they are definitely paying more attention to me, but I think that they think I'm full of shit still. I don't think that they, and I don't, maybe it's like, okay, you can't take 10 months of history and change that in a short period of time, but you know.
Oh,
what?
You can. You can, but at what cost?
Right.
So that's where I'm always coming from. So go ahead.
Right. So, you know, I take them out, and, you know, I'll go back to like a couple weeks ago or a week ago where Gus was just like, yeah. What do you want? You know, and now he's more kind of like walking, and he'll look back at me, and he's walking and he'll look back at me, but he's not that focused like he was when I first was like, what is wrong with you? And I'm doing the same things, but I think he's like, okay, well, that's like, it doesn't get any worse than that. So
no. So remember, you're still thinking obedience and behavior. I don't care if he looks at you or not. And I keep telling you that.
Right.
So what people do, Jen, it's really cool. People are now programmed to believe. I was just thinking about this, and I run into it every time I do a seminar, is people are like, what is your method? I'm like, it's not my method. It's the dog's method of understanding. And if the dog's not ready to move on, you can't, if the dog doesn't get it through its head that you're the teacher and it's the student, you teaching a dog to heel while it's looking at you. Yeah, I mean, you can get that, but the dog, it's one little layer of don't pull on that fucking leash. I'm catching the dog doing something wrong. So why is the dog looking at you then? Tell me why the dog was looking at you in the beginning.
He was confused. He didn't know what I wanted.
Oh, no, it's real clear.
It was clear?
You were upset. When you popped him back, dude, I saw it. When you popped him back, he was like, dude, she can shut off the fucking gravity? Now this young-minded puppy who's 10, 11, 12 months old, whatever, still young, goes, well, so you're walking, don't fucking kill me. Are you going to kill me again? What did I do that made you offended? And so they look at you like it's a very submissive thing. If you correct a little puppy, if you go, they cuddle up. They're like, sorry. They're either going to, you saw the puppy I corrected.
Right.
The Malinois puppy, right? But they try to run away, which you do not want to let them do.
Right.
And then they go, what is it that I can do for you, Jesus? I have found Jesus, and I am really happy with Jesus. But Jesus has to be brainy and kind. You can't be like, I will kill you, and wear the dog as a slipper. And you can't just give the dog everything it wants, because then the dog goes, okay. And I'm running into this with one of my other students. When the leash is on, I'll respect you.
Yeah.
That's what will happen if you keep doing it. And that's why what I wanted you to see today was that now when you're walking, they're deciding to look for the pattern here. So they're going out to Dog Shit Mountain. They come back and they'll correct themselves. They'll go, oh shit, I'm sorry. sorry. And they're finding, just like it happened with Ollie, they're finding their limits. They're finding the parameters, your consistency. Are you going to be consistent with this? Because I'm going to push it. That's what they do. They keep pushing. So you've got to be consistent. I don't care if they heal. I don't care whatever they do. I want them to make a decision and you make a different decision without telling them, because they wouldn't tell each other, right? Like if there's two dogs walking, like say there's puppies following and the puppy's like, oh, this is great. And they get out in front of the mother. She turns around and goes the other way. She's not like, hey, come on, we're going to go this way. She just goes. And they freak out when they don't see her. And they're like, what the fuck? Well, then they start looking, listening, smelling, feeling. They start bringing all their resources to bear to find mom. And that's an ugly place to be when you're a puppy. And they get back and all those endorphins are like, oh my God. She does not go, you did so good. You did good. Here's a pheromone lace treat for you. She doesn't do that. You just found her again. You just found her. So that's how I teach a recall when a puppy's little. I'll walk with them and they'll get ahead of me and I wait for it. And then I'll right behind a tree. Now I'm a big motherfucker. If I can hide on a puppy, anyone can hide on a fucking puppy. But people go, that's mean. That's nature. Yes. Yes. Because that's the whole principle, Jen. The fact that they decided to do something and they had to learn life's ugly consequences, which were nothing. A little bit of, oh, that was it.
Oh, right.
Right. And that's a kid when you take them to, the toy store and they start throwing a temper tantrum because they can't get something, walk the fuck away.
Right.
Walk away. Don't give them the toy. Walk away. You're mean. Give that kid the toy. That kid's a school shooter. That's it. Yeah. That's done right there. It's the way it's going to be. So you have to be a parent. And we've lost at least one generation of children that are parented.
Right.
I'll tell you what, say what you want about Beatrice, that little foot going right up your ass, and she can't stop.
5 kids. And
yeah, boy.
We all went to the grocery store with her and we were not allowed to ask for things. We were not allowed to, it was like you hold on to the carriage and you go. And then you get in the car and you shut up. And they took us out to dinner once a week just so that we could learn our manners. And you sat at the table and you didn't, they were very strict with us, but and this is what I was trying to explain to her the other day. I said, when I was little and you told us to do something, we did it because you'd give us that look or whatever. You didn't beat us. She didn't beat us.
No. So personal pressure.
Right. And that's
consequence.
And that's what we're trying to do with the puppies. I said, they've got to be able to, they're doing something and I got to be able to give them like the hairy eyeball and say, knock it off. And they should just stop.
Now the world is different. We're going, and you're going to see that Ollie's going to blossom under your guidance. He's not going to be so, he's going to be a dog like, I get it, because it knows its role and it knows what to do there. Yes. And so when you try to get people to come away from purely positive, or your friend with the Havanese who's like, well, we just don't, you shouldn't have a dog. So if I walked in, no, I'm serious. If I walked into their house, if they called me, I'd be like, why haven't you told the dog it can't do that? Oh, well, it bites us. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, do it anyway. I go, you just take him off the couch. Well, he'll bite us. What would you do? And this is our culture now. Remember I told you I had a gun pulled on me and the kid was like, and I go, you ain't gonna fucking shoot me because you're a bitch. And I knew he was a bitch, right? People don't know what to do if they get in a physical altercation. People don't know how to handle it.
Right.
People get their cameras out and point them like, I'm going to put you on Facebook and shame you. You fucking punch them in the nose. What the fuck? If someone runs up on you like that, what the fuck? Now, I live in the hood. There's gunfire all the fucking time down here. I'm not kidding. I am not fucking. Look up the statistics in Savannah. It's crazy. If I walked through my neighborhood going like, "Hi, I'm Chris. Can we be friends?" I'd be dead. If someone comes up to you, I'm not kidding. The homeless people down here are every fucking where because it's warm. And some of them are fucking lunatics. And they'll come up to you and they're like, "Ah." I don't go. All right, just listen. You're a homeless person. I go, what the fuck are we doing right now? Weakness draws aggression. Strength repels aggression. I'm not being mean to a homeless person. The homeless person who's got some mental issues is not understanding a boundary. The more hood you get, the more the boundaries need to be clear. So when your dogs went hood on each other and you're still playing, white suburban mom, with an HOA, like, fellas, listen, we're going to have to get some strong counseling online. Like, what are we doing? You got to go full BB. You got to go, oh, your bum's going to hum. See, because you were talking about her having you hold the carriage, right? Mm-hmm. When I went over to my aunt's house, they were like, you sit here. To me, they weren't going to put up with it because they knew we were nuts. We were all a couple of years apart, and my cousins were there and everything. Fuck that. They were very nice to us, but they weren't there to make us fucking happy. And we damn sure were there to ruin their house. Like, oh, it's a crayon. Let's just draw on the wall. We don't do that because we might have done it at home if the parents were allowing it. But what's allowed will continue. The fighting you're having is because they don't see a leader. Everything's allowed and everything's reinforced. And this is the thing I think with mom. I think as we get older, we start to appreciate time, or see it at least differently. And when you're her age and you lose a cat or you lose a loved one, like my aunt was born, she's passed now, but she was born in 1902. And we were talking about high school reunions and she goes, I said, what's yours like? She goes, I'm the only one there.
Yeah.
There's nobody left. So with mom, I think she's like, it's life. It's young life. It's like, I don't want to see pain. I want to see joy. And I want to feel like good. I don't want, and that's a real problem sometimes with older people because they're trying to get into heaven now. And I told her that. And I said, they don't want, that's why you fuck up grandkids because you did your fucking time.
Right.
So now they're like, you go to the supermarket, they're not holding on. You're like, hold on, let them go, baby. I'm gonna get you all a candy bar. Go do what you want. What?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
She won't even come over to my house anymore. Like, I mean, our houses are attached and we have like a mudroom that she won't even come over. She will go outside and come down into my office instead of going up into the house because she doesn't want to see the dogs in their crate.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, well, yes and no, because it's just like, she won't walk through the house to come get dinner. I have to bring it over to her.
No, you don't.
No, I know, but it really bothers her. I mean, a lot.
But and she's going to have
as strict as she was with us, and how much she says that I wasn't the alpha with the dogs and everything. She's very like, I can't believe you're doing this to them.
Well, the thing is, Jen, this is why it's not the dog, it's you thing is really where I want to be now. I don't want to be dealing with the general public. You have to find me. Right. If you find me, I'll help you. Right. But if I start going to people and advertising and start doing all this stuff, they're thinking they're hiring an employee. They're thinking they're paying for, McDonald's. This is not Burger King. It's not have it your way. It's have it the way the dogs need it, not the way the humans want it. Right. That's a very hard thing for people to get their head around, even older people. I watch older people, they lose their goddamn boundaries. Like they start being like, let's give. And that's why older people get scammed because
Right.
they're trying to be nice. And so what predators do, what opportunists do, is they find where your weak spot is and they expand it.
Right.
And so we have to understand that the laws of nature supersede anyone's electronics, anyone's theory, anyone's purely positive notions, any medications. If you have to medicate your dog for behavior issues, you shouldn't have the dog. Now that will get me canceled so fucking fast your head will spin. But wherever there's people who don't want to do the hard things like culling puppies, like if there's a puppy born, now the lady in Texas, you see the T-Rex puppy she's breeding?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's sell those for $3,000, you know, but people are like, oh, we're doing something good. No, you're not. The hips aren't meant to work with the dog doing this.
Right.
So the white German Shepherd for this, for that, but everybody's got their little tribe in the dog world. But there's two common denominators in every tribe: show, sport, working, conformation, whatever. The two common denominators are dogs and people.
Right.
And the people can't go from tribe to tribe. They want to be experts in their little tribes. The dogs, I can walk into anybody's tribe and say, this is the lowest common denominator, is how you communicate with the dog.
Right.
So you're always telling people that what they're doing is wrong. And that's what I mean about we never even get to teach the dog obedience, because people haven't taught the dog how to live properly. Then you teach it obedience.
Right.
Because the dog trying to use obedience to stop, like yours is aggressive behavior. You can yell sit till you're blue in the, forget a megaphone. It ain't going to stop them.
Right. Right.
Because they're in drive. So you don't use sit as a cure for aggression. You make that aggression, you make the behavior expensive as hell. Now, there's upper limits of that. You can't, there's places you can't go because you'll hurt the dog. If you have to go that high where it's like, I'm going to hurt this dog, it's too much dog for you. Right. It's too much dog. If you go to a place where you're like, I need medication, it's not hard to understand that for 36,000 years, we've gotten along just fine with them. But then the internet and social media came, and now every problem is a tribe. Every breed is a tribe. And they're all people that they're like your Havanese friend, who are like fucking clueless about nature. And there are things as a parent you have to do to protect the child. And the first thing I realized was when I was a kid, if my mother went, you kids get over here right now, we didn't even listen. When my mother went, get over here, you fucking moved, because you knew your bum was going to hum. Well, that's abuse. Yeah, I was running for traffic, chasing a ball.
Right.
Pick one. So I go back to the permission now. Dog's hit by a car. You've got, a critical hour to get this dog to the vet. And we're going to have to ask it, how the fuck do you ask permission of a dog? And when people start serving dogs to make the dog happy, the dogs are mistaking your kindness for weakness. Now, in your case, there's two of them. Right. If you have one dog who's getting everything and doesn't have any problems, you're not going to see any bad behaviors because the dog's getting everything at once. It's like the little Havanese, right? You leave him on the couch, you don't have a problem. He can shit in the house, he can piss in the house, you don't have a problem. Don't touch my food, you won't have a problem. You got to flip that. Right. You get on my couch, we're going to have a problem. Right. You piss in my house, we're going to have a problem. Who has more rules, the kids or the dog? Who gets more affection, the husband or the dog? The wife or the dog? You see, that's the problem. Our relationship has become, I've broken so many couples up, Jen, oh my God, where there's a lady who was pregnant, and they had a dog named Lola. We had her for a long time. And I go into my eval room in Kittery, and she's fetal on the ground, holding her belly, rocking. and the dog's going, because the dog's like, what the fuck?
Right.
And the husband's trying to be nice to the lady and go like, it's all right, you. I go, stop. And he's like, no, she's having an episode. I go, don't have it in here. You're a grown-ass woman. Sit the fuck up. You, get over there. Pull the dog over there. So I said, why are you here? Because I'm not dealing with that. The lady said, I had a nightmare that the dog killed the baby. And I'm like, she's being aggressive. And so I start breaking this wife down, going like, look, I don't think you should have this dog. It's a great dog. I don't think you should have this dog. And I'm like, look, something in you is out of control here. You're not acting rationally at all. There's nothing I can even begin to try to teach you with this dog, because right now you're inconsolable. You're hysterical. And the husband goes, look, so he's looking at me. He's like, yeah. He looks over and he goes, they got divorced. It's people are putting up with so many bullshit behaviors from each other that the dog is, and it really did start with people who were marketing like the Sarah McLachlan music. Right. So they want, there's so much money in dogs now. It's so much. In 2008, when the economy tanked, the dog industry right through the roof. In COVID, dogs, pet industry right through the roof. Made money.
When I brought the puppies home, and I don't know, it was about 5 months, they both were like really, really itchy. Right, they're itching all the time, and the vet's like, well, maybe you should try like a purely raw diet. So you go online and you start searching, and it turned out that I would be paying more for their food daily than I pay for my food. I'm like, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's all in the marketing now. All of these, you see it, the farmer's dog, all these things. It's like, who's going to spend $17 a day to feed their dog?
Oh, I know people who get duck mallard heads, beaver tail.
Oh yeah.
This. Hold on a second. This dog is going to be 11, a working dog. This dog, I go to Walmart once a month. I have that freezer over there, and I buy a $6 bag of chicken leg quarters.
Yeah.
They all get 2 chicken leg quarters a day. That's what they get. On one day, they fast. They don't get anything but water. And then on one day, they get yogurt, sardines, a little tiny bit of garlic, and some eggs, and with their chicken leg. And that's it. That's how my dogs have always. Do you know when you're paying 49 cents a pound, it's cheaper than feeding dog food?
Right.
So what happened? What happened to people feeding the dog meat scraps? What happened to that? When I was a kid, the butcher's dog was the fucking healthiest dog you ever saw in your life.
Right.
We go
all the advertising and all the.
Well, they scare them.
Yeah.
Your dog your dog will eat its own shit.
Well, I'm pretty sure out in the wild, they're not getting all the stuff that they put in dog food. I mean.
Nope. And
BHT. Like they went to the all grain free for a while, and then they came back and said, well, they need grain for their hearts. And I'm like, well, other than what they might get out of a deer's stomach, I mean, like if a deer ate grain, where are they getting grain in the wild?
Well, they eat grass. They'll go and get something to move and their gut. That's why they eat shit, because they want bacteria in there to bust stuff up. And it's look, parasites, absolutely. You need to vaccinate and do your wormings. But the thing is like, he went out when he was a puppy, he grabbed a chipmunk that my cat had killed. It had no head and it was all full of maggots. I'm going to throw up if I start talking about this. And he ate it. There's people that would run to the vet. One of the things when I bred my first litter, I said, yeah, we bred his dog to my dog. And I said, yeah, I got an appointment set up for an ultrasound. And he goes, for what? And I go, to see if there's puppies in there. He goes, you're a fucking retard, man. You wait 63 days. If there are puppies on the ground, she was fucking pregnant. But people are doing prenatal fucking DNA, anything but train the fucking dog, anything but understand how the dog thinks. And it's a very, very difficult time to be the dog. So what was the moment where you were like, hey, I'm kind of being a pussy here?
Well, last week I was or our last appointment, I was really in a bad spot, and thinking about this, and then I think it was when I took Gus out, and he was just like, it was like I never had done any work with him at all. Like I took him out in the morning, and he was like, ah. Well, and that was another question I have to ask you later, but and I'm like, I'm not asking that much of you. You know what I mean?
No.
It's not like I'm asking you to get up and cook me breakfast,
No.
I'm asking you to walk next to me till we get down to Ship Mountain, and you go to the bathroom, and we walk back to the house. And then that's when it was like occurred to me, like, I've never given him any reason to think that he couldn't just do whatever he wanted to when he went out. So that's when it kind of all came to me that if I don't get them looking at me like I could kill them, with that respect, then there's no way that we're ever going to be able to live together. I mean, I'm not going to be able to keep both dogs. I might be able to keep one and live, but they either way, they should both have respect for me. They should both look at me as I'm the person that, they look to me to find out, hey, is this okay? Am I doing that kind of thing?
Healthy doubt.
Yes.
And I'll ask you a question. Are your 5 kids, how did B do as a parent for getting you to be successful adults?
I think she did great. I mean, she's got, 5 kids that all are, responsible, we all work, we all have families, so she did.
If she went to the supermarket and said, you little motherfuckers, hold on to this shit, they'd have people there calling her for child abuse now.
Oh, yeah.
That people now just jump into your business. Like it enables the dogs, the kids, the people to pass boundaries where there should be life lessons and milestones that teach them that's not good.
Right.
And so when people get, one of the biggest things for me with you is you're not a super people-y person. I don't mean that you can't get along with people. In fact, I mean, I don't think most people would notice, but I'm like, I can tell when you don't want to talk to me or you don't want to talk to somebody else. You're like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like you can see it if you know what you're looking at, right? But what I'm trying to get to you is that you're in the right place. But with horses, you can communicate correctly. You know when to give affection. You know when to not give affection, because those fucking things are dangerous. But you realize they have to know their place or someone's going to get fucking hurt.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
If would you put 2 horses, full grown males, in a stall together?
No.
Why?
Because they would probably end up hurting each other.
Why would they hurt each other? They're getting everything they want.
You just don't put 2 horses in a confined space together like that.
Because they're going to fucking decide whose space it is, aren't they?
Right.
Well, welcome to your living room.
Right.
That's the thing, is that if you put 2 kids in a room unsupervised, they're going to find out whose living room it is.
Right.
If you put 2 roosters, if you put hens, they're gonna fucking figure it out. So in the absence of leadership, the dogs think everything's allowed. And people spend the first year of the dog's life teaching it all the shit it shouldn't do. And
right.
when they're young, there's little lessons that can be taught on the way up if you know they're coming. But people have twisted what dog behavior and dog training is now into a multi-billion-dollar industry that I don't want to be a part of. Right. So having this message where people like yourself, it's hard to hear, but I'm not here to lie to you. And if you said, I want to let him out of the crates, I'd be like, go with God. God bless. Let's see what happens. And then people will say, well, Chris, it didn't work when I was working with Chris. It didn't work because you didn't do what you're supposed to do. And it took months for them to understand these things. And it took months for you guys to reinforce these things. You're not going to, I don't want the old Keeler kind of like, you know, what that guy said to do with the service dog. You come in and you just correct, you scare them. Well, maybe, but if they decide that you're really full of shit, you might just be one of the beings they think is a dog that's coming up past their limit. And I watch people get fucked up because they told the dog that they were, you know, I'm your servant. And then they come up and the older dogs will tend to go, nope. Right. And so that's when the history, like I have no history with them, they will accept a pattern interrupt from me way more quickly than they will accept it from you. Right. But if people drop their dog off with me, they had to be part of the solution. Right. I was co-signing along with them, but I'm like, you got to come in 3-4 times a week. You got to get in here and get your hands dirty. But nobody wants to fucking do that. And right. So you're not going to get the reward of trusting your dog's obedience or, you know, not worrying that they're going to shit on your couch or whatever. You accept all those problems because what your actions are telling the dog is that it's their house. And you seem like you have a nice house. I love the dining room. It's beautiful. Very nice. If you wanted
spend a lot of time down here in the basement, so I mean, well, I don't get to enjoy it.
That's where you should be. As a non-people person, that's where you should be. I could talk dog with people all day. I don't want to talk politics with people. I don't want to talk religion with people. I don't want to talk finance with people. I don't want to talk about that shit. I don't. I'll deal with it. That's my business. You want to talk dog behavior because now you're going to see that once you stop that self-pity shit and you want to get going with this, everything you do is going to be different now. I hope. Right. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's a good epiphany, man. That's good cleansing. It's good. Get it out. Just cleanse.